Hello and welcome back to Time Space Visualizer. We weren't going to be doing this originally, but there's a new trailer for Doctor Who out, and I feel like we need to talk about it. Sign up to our memberships below, and you can get a full reaction to the trailer and our thoughts and feelings on it, as we then just sort of break it down and bring it down and dive into our sort of more general feelings and hopes and thoughts about Series 2.
Yeah, it just looks amazing.
The first
really
thing that
does.
stands out is just the fact that now it feels like we've actually got
The Disney
money. Because although, you know, not saying the first season looked terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a whole other level. The jump in quality, just purely from a visual effects standpoint, is massive. And it sort of makes me think, well, where was this for the first series? Because part of me worries now, not to get negative straight away, but what if this is it now? This is, you know, people have dipped out with Series 1, and then this is what we get with Series 2, and people are just not interested because they were like, oh, I tried that first series, but it was a bit too silly, a bit too goofy.
This is when you tie them down to your chair and force Doctor Who on them.
You can't do that to the entire general population of the UK, though, can we? Or the world. It's a lot of admin. I mean, the visual effects, like some of the stuff there with that, whatever that little spider thing is, I've got a little theory about what that could be. And the
Rachnos Part 2.
Oh god. And they did the big bony dinosaur and all of that, and just general stuff. It just looks like mind blowing. It looks really, really good. I watched this yesterday, sort of going, oh, I'm quite curious to see what it's like, you know. But I was, you know, we talked about the trailers for last series and whatever, and they were fun at the time. But I look back on them now and I think, it's not actually that. I think I was just so hyped for Doctor Who to come back. They could have just shown me like a couple of pictures, and I'd have gone, yeah, sick.
Yeah,
and
made noises and clapping.
Yeah, and the tonal shift for this series is exactly what I think my thing is that I've been missing for a little bit, because I enjoy fun Doctor Who. I enjoy it being fun and campy and whatever, and there's definitely some of that in this. You know, I mean, we've got an Interstellar Song Contest hosted by Rylan. Oh
god, yeah, that's going to be a watch.
I feel like that's going to be the fun daft episode. People have already written that one off, though, but it's like...
Yeah, they've written it off because of Rylan, though.
Yeah, but he's a big Doctor Who fan, and he's obviously got the best agent in the UK because he's in bloody everything.
Yeah.
And, you know...
Henry Cavill, take notes from Rylan's agent. Become the next Doctor, maybe. Who knows?
But, like, I think back to stuff in the first Russell T Davies era, like... You know, like Bad Wolf, for example. Everyone loves that finale, and there's still that cheesy sort of like sci-fi take on Big Brother and The Weakest Link and all that. That's all quite campy, and people didn't write that off. I think people are just looking for things to be negative about now.
Yeah, since introducing Jodie as a Doctor, people seem to have. Oh, I'm going to hit you. People have seemed to be more looking for more of a reason to write stuff off. Like, okay, as we said a few days ago, the writing in Jodie's era really needs a lot of work. Nothing against her as an actor. She is brilliant. If you've seen her other stuff, she is good in it. It's purely down to the writing and support cast. But there's no reason to be looking for these problems before you see it. Just enjoy it, watch it. There's nothing. Oh, don't you start crying too? Just sit there, enjoy it, make honest criticisms about it.
And if you don't enjoy it, that's fine too. But like, give it a chance. Yeah. You know, or if you look at this and go, oh, that's not for me, then just that's fine. That's not for me. You don't need to. People don't need to drag. I've unfollowed a couple of accounts this week, you know, that have just been like, this is just repeating the same old stuff, and I couldn't disagree more. That is the freshest Doctor Who has felt and looked for a while.
Yeah, I want to know what those spinny saucers were. They looked a bit Dalek-y.
I don't think we're getting Daleks again, you know. I think, or if they do, it'll be...
we're having a break from Daleks for a
which
while.
is fine by me. I'm more than happy.
They still got to redesign them properly, and make them.
I would be... I mean, it would be a shame if, you know, if Ncuti does go after this series and he doesn't get a Dalek story, but, like, I'd like...
It's refreshing.
It's there's nothing really wrong with that. It's not like it's, you know, a failure of the era or whatever. I just think that the shift in this, and people writing off stuff like the Interstellar Song Contest episode, which is apparently it's meant to be the most expensive episode of Doctor Who ever. Like, that's got to be worth a look anyway. But, you know, wait till it's out and see what it's like. I mean, it's probably the one I'm the least hyped for, but I think that's just because everything else has captured my imagination, and I think I've managed... The good thing about Ncuti having a different costume each episode is you can spot which episodes the clips are from. So that first one is obviously the robot one with the spaceships and everything, and then you've got that 1950s one in with the Alan Cumming as the cartoon, which, by the way, that looks really cool.
Oh, that looks like proper horror Doctor Who again.
Yeah, but it's the idea that they've got this like a fully animated character, you know, that Doctor Who would never have been able to do that before Disney. Do you know what I mean? But even that first episode, I think we've got... I think I'm already quite warming to Belinda already, and we've only seen this 2-minute trailer, but I quite like the fact that she's got a bit of Tegan about her. I think that, you know, when we had that official synopsis where it's that the Doctor sort of his world collides with Belinda and he's trying to get her back home, but they're being prevented for whatever reason. Maybe it's like a season-long MacGuffin, maybe it's just not. But it's sort of giving you a bit of a Tegan vibe to it, of like that sort of unwilling traveller, but sort of goes on with it and kind of slightly falls in love with it, really. And I think that's quite a fresh dynamic because... And a lot of people are going to be probably happy with that because one of the main criticisms last year was the Doctor and Ruby was just, it was too fun. There was no conflict. There was all just, it was too pally from the off. And maybe this time we get a bit of conflict in the TARDIS. Yeah,
and this series seems like it's going to be taking a bit more of a darker route as well, which is something that was heavily criticised about last year, is there's no real dark elements to it. You had hints here and there at best, but nothing like Human Nature and Family of Blood, but if that sort of level.
If you look at the series last year and the 3 strongest episodes, you know, that we found,
that went up my nose.
I thought it did.
Sorry,
you good? So the 3 strongest episodes for us last year were Boom, 73 Yards, and the first part of the finale. And what have all those 3 got in common? Well, with the exception of Dot and Bubble, you know, for what happens in the end, they're all the darkest in tone. You know, they're not light and fluffy and campy like the other ones. They're the ones that sort of go a bit more serious, and we're going to tell this really sort of quite important story. I mean, Dot and Bubble does that too, but it's surrounded by camp and colourful and just crap for the first.
On rewatch, that one stood out a bit more for me now. It's not as bad as I thought when we first reviewed it.
I haven't gone back to it since we did the full watch through for the end of series review, but maybe I'll give it another look. I don't know. I'll probably end up watching it all again before this comes out anyway.
I know I'm going to.
But I think for me what was really lacking is it's all a little bit too... I mean, I get it. You've got to have that here and there. You can't have every episode be really dark and mysterious, but yeah, I don't know. I'm liking it. There's a lot to it. I think the episodes that I'm really interested in is the one where they're all in the spacesuits and they seem to be sort of doing some scuba diving or like space diving, skydiving things. It's the one where is it Christopher Chung, the actor that they announced from Slow Horses and things like that, is going to be in. Looks quite dark and quite spooky. Gives me sort of alien vibes a bit. And then there's the Inua Ellams episode, which seems to be the episode that we haven't seen much of in the trailer, although my theory is that big spider thing is it's Anansi, which is an African god of storytelling, which fits in with the pantheon, and it fits in with the idea that, you know, we've seen in a couple of shots the doctors in that quite traditional African dress. Maybe that's connected. I don't know, it's just a theory. We've got the song contest one. I think there's another episode of thing. We're going to get one that's a bit Doctor Light and it's going to be more focused on Ruby on Earth, which could set up the finale.
And again, that looks quite dark as well.
Yeah, that thing putting its hand up behind Ruby's date. That seems to be that, like, you know, Belinda's being abducted and is maybe mistaken for somebody and gets involved with these robots and whatever. And, you know, there's a link between Belinda and Mundy.
Yes. And I'm glad they've done that because they kind of couldn't have got away with...
No,
they could have, but they couldn't because she had a bit more of a role in it than other past companions who have done a side role before becoming the main companion.
Yeah, but even then, you just sort of go, oh, well, you know, there's plenty of actors who have played multiple roles in Doctor Who. I just hope that if they're going to do it, they don't do a similar thing to Clara where she's been fractured across the universe or something, or across time. It's got to be something different, otherwise it is just treading the same ground. I think
it'll probably be like, a long lost relative or something.
But even that's been done. It needs to be. I don't know what else you could really do, but obviously we don't know because it's not out yet. I just think that if they're going to do it, that's fine. But
watch it be another Susan Triad.
Something. Oh my god! Could you imagine?
Oh, I think I cry.
Sutek returns again. He's like, I've got different people. I've been splintering everywhere now. Ha 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 ha.
You'll have to find me, or
what's that? Another dog lead? Get off me! Oh well.
Another time vortex? No!
It's just such bollocks, isn't it? Just on the whole, like I'm quite liking the idea of maybe like a bit more of like a season-long story as well, because although we had the sort of Susan triad and sort of hints about Ruby throughout series 1, there wasn't a sort of continuous arc, and I quite liked, like with Flux, for example, you've got that overall story, but there are chapters within it. Like you can watch War of the Sontarans because it's got its own story, but it also ties it in. And I would quite like to see that the idea that the Doctor's trying to get Belinda back home, but she sort of slowly warms more to the idea of traveling with him, and that dynamic going from like maybe quite not argumentative, but there's going to be more conflict than start. Maybe they're sort of like mellow towards each other. I think they've clearly got good chemistry already. I'm very excited to see.
As morbid as it sounds, though, I reckon she's going to die. I reckon her character's going to die in this series.
I don't think
it's giving me that hint of she's really enjoying it. The Doctor's like, oh, I know he says it to every companion. He's like, oh, I'm going to look after you and make you safe. But they seem to put a lot of emphasis on that for this trailer. I reckon she's going to pop it.
But even if they die, they don't actually die, do they? It's always always like, oh, they're trapped in the past, or well, that's all right then, that sort of thing.
Wiped her memories. That's all right then. Well, she's saved in her between last heartbeats of her life.
Yeah, but just the jump in production quality is astounding. I mean, there's some more new costumes for Shooty. Some of them I'm quite into. Some of them not so much. They're a bit bland, I think, compared to last year. They stood out a bit more.
Let's talk about Mrs. Flood as well. I'm glad she made an entrance into the trailer.
Yeah, well, we knew she was going to be back anyway, and I'm wondering where Susan Triad Susan Twist is going to come back into this, because we know she's back as well.
Yeah, I'm working for UNIT.
So yeah, I assume it'll be with Finale, and we've got Mel there looking terrified as all his houses collapse behind her. If anything happens to Mel Russell, I will find you and give you a stern talking to.
And all the stuff they're doing, I think the theme throughout this is, or the underlying thing to the big bad at the end, which is inevitable, is Russell T Davies. He loves doing that. Everything being messed about with reality.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays in with each episode.
I think it would be fun to have, like, that kind of messing around with, play with episodes, just making things a bit weirder, a bit stranger, a bit darker.
And they've got the technology to do it as well. Like, it as you said, this trailer looks really bloody good.
It's really solid. I think I just can't put my finger on what it is that's really grabbed me. I think it is just the fact that it feels a bit new. It feels fresh. Like, I sort of watched the trailer for Series 1 and went, oh yeah, that looks all right. It looks good. It's a bit happy clappy and a bit colourful and a bit, but it felt very much like, oh, this feels like Doctor Who. Yeah, this feels like Doctor Who, but at the same time, it feels like something else. It feels like it's something new. And I really hope that this does really well, because I don't want to have this and then be left with nothing for ages. I know we've got the spin-off coming up, but like, this feels like this is what I've wanted for Doctor Who for a while. Like, if you're going to go full production values and high budget and everything, do the stories that you need to tell with that. So if you want a song about the Interstellar Song Contest that you couldn't do on a small budget, well, bam, there you go, do it. I think that's what we need to be doing, is going, look at what they can do to make this feel as new and as fresh as possible to hook people in.
And with getting the gap here as well, this series really needs to land, because you need to have people be anticipating the next series whenever it comes. They can't just watch this, it fall off a cliff like Empire of Death, and then you've got to wait 2 years for a new series, and you're just like, well, what's the point? And then by the time the new series comes around, you're just not as excited for it.
Yeah,
like, it's the sort of stuff these sort of shows rely on, I think.
I'm quite hoping we'll probably do a predictions video a bit closer to it, just before it launches, really. But one of my hopes for this is that we don't actually get any returning monsters. I don't want Mrs. Flood to be the Rani or Susan or whatever. I don't want, oh, look, it's the Daleks or something. Just do something new and create some new monsters that'll stick, because that's the one thing I think New Who hasn't really managed to do aside from the Weeping Angels. And it looks like we're going to get scary, darker, more atmospheric, a bit more, less on the fluffy, oh, isn't time travel wonderful? And this would be like, actually, isn't the universe a bit scary and a bit mad? And,
Yeah, and it's not all bells and whistles.
I don't think it'd be like that all the way through. I think, we're still going to get our moments of fun and daft.
Oh, you got to. If it's dark all the way through, then it's going to be repetitive, isn't it?
Yeah. I just think I'm just really looking forward to this. We've got new writers as well, It's not just being written by Russell T Davies, his mate, and then two people he upset. So
Yeah.
that's what I think we're looking forward to is this. It's just April the 12th needs to hurry up now. So it's sort of relit the fire a bit because I was not waning as such, but
literally just over a month. We got to wait.
Well, it's like what, 6 weeks away, 6-7 weeks.
I think it's 5 weeks Saturday.
Nearly there. Well, what did you think of the trailer, guys? Let us know in the comments. I've sort of covered everything. I don't know about you.
No, I don't have anything else to add, to be honest. That's... Yeah, I'm speechless now.
Yeah. I just think that
never happens.
This just needs to be the thing now that we need to just market this and get it out there and get everybody watching, bums on seats, make it big again. Let's stick with this, because if this is the kind of Doctor Who that the Disney deal is going to make, we need to keep that deal or find some other way of keeping this money, because that looks spectacular. Obviously, we can't judge it in full, but from a visual standpoint, no notes.
Well, yeah, we were both a bit apprehensive about the new season after Empire of Death. I think you even said, I'm not even excited for it. I don't really care.
I was sort of like, I'm going to watch it anyway, but like I'm not.
But you're not too keen on it. But it's nice that they've actually managed to relight that spark.
Yeah, because I came away from the 60th anniversary and I was like, God, I can't wait for Christmas. And then Christmas happened. I'm like, God, I can't wait for May now for this new series, and was just wishing the weeks away. Whereas this time around, until this trailer, I was like, oh yeah, Doctor Who will be on soon. That'd be nice. Cool.
Something to do on a Saturday when we get drunk.
Yeah, but needless to say, my opinion has changed. So let's just hope it sticks the landing.
Yes.
But let us know what you think anyway in the comments below.
Yes, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and if you're feeling generous, sign up to our memberships, which you can find somewhere down here.
Yeah. Of the video, hopefully.
Yeah.
Not just under the table.
Well, yeah, well, I'd be concerned if they can find it under the table. You'd need to sort out your security, my friend.
I think I would. Right. Anyway, before we get sidetracked even more, thank you very much. Apologies, it's a bit off the cuff, but I just needed to get this out of me.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.